Yo, let's go through the staking part, or actually the rewards you can gain from staking tokens at Wax. So if you are a believer, a long time believer of Wax, you can buy the tokens and then you can stake them and then you can vote for block producers and you can start earning rewards. So you get more Wax just by owning Wax and participating in the governance. So to do this, first you need to have Wax, and then you need to go to your wallet. This can be done in any wallet. I'm going to do it with Blocks, because Blocks you can do it with Cloud Wallet, Simplios, Anchor Wallet, Scatter, or whatever you use, or the Ledger. And the first thing you need to do is understand that the governance of the Wax blockchain is done by the top 21 block producers, or as we call them on Wax, guilds. These are teams spread out all over the world. We see them in Canada, Sweden, United States, Netherlands, Spain, Australia, Ukraine, and so forth. They go down, and there's all over the world. These teams are the ones that run the computers, the infrastructure that support the blockchain. They verify the transactions, they lock them in the block, they make sure everything works from APIs, and yeah, they make sure that your experience of the blockchain is that it always works. That's their job. Um, so these teams receive votes, and based on how many votes you have, if you get in the top 21, you are an elected producer. Uh, then we have some standbys below, which will jump in the top 21 if there's any issues or if they receive more votes. Currently, the top producer has 1.45 billion wax voted to them, which is a lot of tokens. This is great, by the way. And the top 21 has 750 million tokens. And why this is great is because if some other team that has malicious ideas, they want to take over the chain, they want to destroy something, they need to have 15 spots of these 21 to do whatever they want. So 15 spots is very hard because you need right now one point. Okay, for the top here you need about 1.4 yeah, or just about 1.37 billion tokens voted for 15 people, which is a lot of tokens, a lot of dollars, way more than most would have and gain. And if something bad would happen, there would be a fork that saves everyone. So the risk of doing anything is pretty much non-existent with the current voting system. And what is great with Wax is that Wax encourages everyone to that is a long-term believer to stake their tokens and vote, because you get 1% of the total inflation of the chain you get back to your account. So if you have uh, stake tokens and you vote, then you will have get your rewards. So how that works is the first thing you need to do is vote for 16 block producers. Uh, you can do it with the prox. First, block producers, you need to evaluate the team, make sure that they are good, so you don't vote for the bad teams. And there are proxies that can do that for you. Proxy is a person or a team that evaluates team. They vote for them, and you can delegate your tokens, your stake. They are still yours. You don't lose them. You don't send them. You just delegate the right to vote with your tokens to this proxy, and then they can evaluate and make sure that we have the correct teams in the top. Personally, I use the Wax community proxy because I run it, so it makes sense. I trust the evaluation of the teams that this proxy does. I would also trust the K3 General and the blocks for sure, and Big Mike is pretty good at evaluating. There's a little bit different on who they vote for. This guy vote for 28, and Big Mike vote for 30, and Wax community vote for 18. So one isn't necessarily better or worse. It's just that there's different criteria to get filled with the votes from these different proxies. So this is a great way for you that if you don't want to evaluate all these teams, which is a lot of block producers here. It's more than 40 different teams that you have to evaluate and make sure that you vote for good teams or just one of the few proxies. When you have stake tokens and when you have voted, you also need to know that if you want to unstake your tokens, you can do that whenever you want, but it takes 72 hours. So your stake tokens are locked for at least 72 hours from the time when you hit unstake. So that is actually a very good security feature, as if you have notifications on your account and you get uh, which you should have. There's one from a guild called Greenios. They have produced a bot that you can have on Telegram, which will send you notifications if any transactions are done on your account, if you stake or unstake and everything like that. Is very good because if you suddenly get the notifications your account has unstaked a lot of tokens and it wasn't you, then it's likely that someone did it for you, which means that they have control of your account, which means that you should now get your owner key, go in, swap your keys, link below how you do that, and then you have saved your tokens and you have 72 hours to do this. Very, very important feature to protect your tokens. So when we go here, just go to stake, and if you haven't staked tokens before, CPU and net are resources that you gain from staking. It's your right to perform actions on the blockchain. Uh, it doesn't cost anything, it's just that you stake them towards this resource, and this resource is now booked for your account. And if you have a lot of tokens, it doesn't matter how you stake them, but preferably you will need more CPU to interact with dApps than you will need net. So I would say something about 75-25% would be probably optimal. The less tokens you have, the more it matter. But on Wax, every resource is still very cheap, so it doesn't really matter, which is very good. So you have staked now and you have voted. After 24 hours, you can go to blocks, you can go to wallet, you can go to claim GBM, and then you will see that you can claim rewards. There are two different types of rewards. There are Genesis balance, Genesis tokens, which are tokens that were gained from believing in Wax when it was in the early stages during the swap to their own chain. They said, okay, if you believe in us and you leave your token staked for 3 years, you will gain 1 extra token for every 1 token you have. And you get an equal portion of that for every day. So after 1 year, you have gained 33% extra tokens. So if you had 1 token, you now have 1.33 token after 1 year. If you unstake after 1 year, the remaining 0.66 tokens that you will get if you leave it staked will be burned. So the token supply right now will be reduced every time someone with Genesis tokens unstake their tokens. And this has been seen a lot of times where we see a decrease in the total supply of tokens is because people with a lot of Genesis token have unstaked their tokens to have them liquid. So if you leave them staked, you believe in the project, you support it by voting, you make the chain stronger, more resistant to attacks and everything, it's a great aspect. If you don't have Genesis tokens, you can still have vote rewards, which is every year there's 5% inflation. I have it here, 5% inflation, 2% go back to those that have staked tokens. Currently, only 1% goes to the stake tokens, but the plan is to have 2%. It's just not active yet. So 1% of total inflation goes back to you as a user. That means that depending on how much, if you have 1% of all tokens that are voted, you will receive 1% of that inflation. So it's proportionate to how many tokens you have compared to how many tokens are voted in total. So that is very good. 2% actually goes to the Wax guilds, those that run the blockchain to cover the electricity cost, the buying servers, renting servers, paying for personnel. They have 24/7 personnel ready if something happens and everything like that. Pretty expensive operation to run. So 2% go to them to make sure that they can operate, which is very, very nice actually. So these tokens I claimed last time on the 7th of June, which now is free, pretty much 3 days ago. So and from that time I got 6.4 wax. Now I'm not gonna get 1 million wax from this, but I am getting a nice chunk of extra tokens. So about a little bit more than 2 tokens per day from having just over 30,000 tokens staked. Which is very nice. For a year I gained some extra tokens, and now that the price increases, it's very nice to see that you gain some extra tokens. And all I need to do then is just claim both and I get my rewards. So it's very simple. I will try if this works with me now and see if I can do it with my confirm transaction. Let's see if my ledger works now. It didn't. My ledger didn't want me to claim. Okay, I can do it another time. I probably because I left it on for too long. Don't need to do it right now. Uh, so you will gain rewards and you will participate in the governance of the blockchain. Uh, to make it easy for you to vote instead of having this ledger and unlocking it and everything, you can set custom permissions to your account that is only allowed to vote and claim, which is very good because your vote weight will actually be reduced over time if you don't vote. Once per week right now, the vote weight will go down in strength, and then your reward strength is also lower. So you need to vote again or stake tokens, because staking tokens count as an activity on the account, and your vote strength will be refreshed. So you can just go into your account and go to votes and see, okay, yes, I have 100%, which means currently I get as much rewards as I can right now, which is very good. Um, so that's how you get the rewards. A short introduction how they work. I try to go into the depth a little bit, but try to make it simple. I hope it works for you. I hope it was simple enough, but also detailed enough. Comment below if you want me to explain something more, or if you want me to make more videos explaining the staking or the the voting or rewards and everything. And peace.